Hector, I appreciate you being here with us today. I'm interested to learn more about you too.
Well, I live in Europe, as you might have gathered. And more specifically at the moment, I'm in Portugal. So I always tend to spend my winters here. It's less cold.
Oh, that's cool.
What else would you like to know?
Well, I guess more about your League of Legends experience would be great.
Well, I used to be a pro player 2 or 3 years ago, but that stopped when I got married. My wife didn't want me to be a pro player anymore, wanted me more at home, so I decided to convert into coaching. That's what I've been doing ever since. Coaching both individual players and pro teams.
Well, that makes that's that's great. I'm married as well.
Congratulations.
I just had a daughter. I played a lot more games before. That's cool.
All right, this is what I want you to do for me. Open up your clock, and that way I can see how many seconds delay you have.
Well, that's a good idea. And I wonder if there's any option where I can make it a little less. It looks like 10 or 15 seconds or so. Looks like 10 seconds even, at least on mine.
All right, I see. Give me a second. Yeah, it's okay. It's not too bad. It's about 10-15 seconds. Hitbox, like I told you, would have been better because it's only 5 seconds or less, which is just about ideal. I can almost coach you while in an action, but this will do as well. All right, when you're ready, get yourself fired up into a game. Pick whatever role and champion you'd like to show me today, and we'll go for it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you giving this a try with me, Hector.
Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
Oh, I appreciate you giving this a try with me, Hector.
Oh, it's no problem. Don't worry.
So
I've already coached through streams before. Like I said, I used Hitbox because we found Twitch was a little bit too slow, too much delay.
I'm open to switching to Hitbox if this seems like something we both enjoy doing.
If the delay reveals itself to be slightly too much, then yeah, I think it'll be better. Otherwise, it's good this way as well. Alright, so you decided to go for jungle primary, mid-secondary.
Yes.
So what champions do you have in mind?
I'm looking at the champion GG over here, and I'm thinking Udyr is one of my favorite jungle, along with Shyvana, and I also like Volibear as well, who he looks like he's strong in the current meta.
Alright, don't go too much through websites, because they can be misleading, because the biggest amount of statistics that come out of websites are going to be out of bronze, silver, and gold, which might not reflect what we actually play at high level. And obviously at high level we'll have the current meta and what actually counts as whatever other metas have been played in the past. So don't go too much through the websites. Currently, since you're in bronze, you shouldn't worry too much about the champions you play, as long as they're not underpowered. All the rest will be fine. What we want is consistency, for you to learn how to play correctly, and for you to play enough to actually get out of bronze. One game a day is, it's a little bit restricted. It's going to take you a while to get out of bronze, even if you have 100% win rate.
Well, I'm okay with that.
Well, what I'm telling you is play pretty much what you enjoy, as long as it's not underpowered. If you don't know, just ask. Ud is absolutely fine, Shyvana is absolutely fine. They'll serve you well.
Excellent. I guess it makes sense to. I'd like to play as good as I can. So I guess if my capability is gold or platinum, then I'd like to. That might take playing more games, obviously.
Well, here comes reality, Jerry. Your current level is not gold, platinum, or you'd be there. Right, so baby steps, first things first. Let's see what your level is currently, work on that, get you to silver. Once we're in silver, we'll get to gold. That's how it works.
So I had a guy ban... Oh, they banned you, dear. Okay. So I can pick someone else. Well, that sounds like a good plan to me. To take it one step at a time. Do my best at the level I'm at.
Yep, that's the best. If you put yourself up to too high expectations from the start, and then you fail, you're going to be disappointed.
So I'm at the champion select. Not sure to pick Shyvana. I guess I'm probably the best with her. I have a lot of games that don't go well with her, though.
Well, ask yourself this question. Do you want to play her? Would you enjoy playing her right now?
I'm thinking I'd rather play Volibear right now, so...
Then go for it. Motivation's a big part. If you don't enjoy playing a champion, you won't play him good.
So now I need to figure out my runes for Volibear. I usually use a guide from a website to do that.
Well, show me what you've got.
So I usually use the champion.gg for this. And then I look at whatever the highest frequent and then consider the win rate runes too with like how I'm playing. And then I've got the options here too. So I guess I might do a move speed with this one. Or I also have the attack damage, attack speed ones as well. It's like this, I realize I don't know. I'm kinda in the dark here.
We'll talk about the runes and masteries after the game. Right now I want you to select what you think is better and tell me why. So I can start to get a feel of how you think in the game.
Alright, I'm thinking I like to try and play whatever the highest win rate is and then try and scale that with how I play. So like movement speed, I often am a little slow, so that probably helps my weaknesses the best. And then I'm thinking this looks good for me because if I'm going to build Volibear tanky, I'd probably rather have lifesteal percent of max health. I guess for now I'll just keep it simple and do what I set up before.
Alright.
And forget about this. I have a build over in the corner I look at too. I guess I get caught up a lot in the winning and losing, which is funny because I do all these inspirational videos, you know, where I'm like focused on the moment and stuff. And then I go play League of Legends and I'm like already afraid that I'm not going to win the game right now. Like it hasn't even started yet.
That's something common. Most people feel like that. It's actually a very big trap because that's going to lead you into a vicious cycle, a very bad cycle for you, where instead of focusing on the game and focusing on what's important, which is yourself and improving yourself, you're going to be focused on winning and losing, at which point your performance will be bad and you'll lose. So think of it this way. League of Legends is a team game, and despite you going into solo queue solo alone, you're still going to have to work with your teammates, and ultimately, if they don't want to work back or are playing bad or are having a bad day, you're still going to lose. That's why you absolutely have to focus on yourself every single game, and game after game you have to find something to improve, because the higher your level goes, and you're the only person you can influence right now, the more chances of winning you're going to get. So stick to that. Just stick to your performance, do as good as you can, nothing else. That's a little bit of insight from pro play. Pro players were actually taught to think like that and absolutely not care about the winning or losing. Especially in solo queue. Of course, in tournaments, it's a different story.
Well, yeah, I realize one of the main deficiencies or areas I can improve is self-awareness. Like, I don't even realize what I'm doing while I'm playing. It's just like, you know, with you here, I know you're watching me, and then I'm realizing, like, wow, I'm really honestly afraid of losing a game already. And it just started, and there's no, like, reason to be, you know? Like, no one on our team's even going off on each other yet. Like, that's surprising. I wouldn't have figured I'd have that much fear there. Oh, so I bought my first few items here based on whatever the basic guide says, and then so I can get started, but often then I'm kind of clueless as to how to build according to what the other team's doing.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Alright, well the good part with the jungle is your two first items are going to be pretty linear. So that's going to be a smite, and the smite you can decide which one you want depending on what's on the enemy team. So if you tell me real quick what they have.
Oh, okay, I bring it up here. So they have Thresh, Elise, Wukong, Fizz, and Twitch. So it looks like Fizz is magic. I don't even know what Elise is offhand.
Alright, I'm going to go on the assumption that at this elo, people are not going to ward very well, so you're going to go for the warding jungle item. You're also going to go as a first item for Cinderhawk, since you're pretty much the only tank that your team has, so you're going to have to be the front line. You'll be engaging the team fights, you're going to take the first round of burst on top of yourself, and that's how you're going to make yourself useful.
So I want enchantment Cinderhawk. Okay, good.
Exactly, and before that you want the warding item.
So here I burn my first two potions. I try and usually keep smite until later.
Keep in mind I don't see it yet. But yeah, I'm starting to see it now. Alright, you definitely want to use your smite on this first camp, because then it gives you, for a very long amount of time, a stun on the 5th attack. And that stun is actually going to prevent monsters from dealing as much damage to you. So don't hesitate to instant smite. Go to the red once you finish that. If you have enough HP, you'll go to the wolves.
Okay, so I want to smite from now on to start with, instead of trying to save it.
Exactly.
And then jungle clear, so I'm going to the... I guess these are wolves up here. The little bird-looking things, I'm working on them, and then I go back and buy.
Alright, the ones you're talking about are raptors. The wolves are actually on the other side. The first item you're going to be looking at is the Hunter's Potion. So you're going to upgrade your refillable potion for very cheap, 250. And with the Hunter's Potion, you'll basically have absolutely no more problems in terms of mana and HP while you're jungling.
So I upgrade that first now that I've went back? Hunter's Potion?
Yeah, that's preferable. If you've bought something in the meantime, do not sell it, okay? It's very bad to sell, because it's basically throwing money away.
And then what's the jungle warding item?
If you click your Hunter's Machete,
Yes.
you have different upgrades. You have a blue smite, you have a red smite, and you have a green one, a green item. That's the one you want.
So I want the tracker's knife?
Exactly, and that's going to enable you to place vision, to place wards, which usually at the lower elos people do not place vision. Without vision, you won't be able to take good decisions, and that goes both for you and your allies.
So if I can see where they're going to be jungle, then I can know where I should go.
Exactly.
If I don't know where they're at, I can't do anything.
You're going to be able to start to make predictions. And as the jungle, you're one of the people who has the most available free time to look at the minimap. Being a jungler is all about being at the right place at the right moment, and that takes prediction.
Okay, so I'm clearing the wolves last here. I see that top just went back. I'm saying I probably should have waited on the blue buff to use this light on that guy. I guess I'm not even sure there which is best to go for.
Right now, from what I can see on my screen, you should be paying attention to that Diana's positioning. She has a ward on the top side, which she is very advanced. Right now you're in the top side of the map yourself, which means that you have influence over the mid lane and the top lane. If something were to happen to her, you want to move as soon as possible to go and help her, to do a counter gank is what we call it.
So if the jungler pops up... Alright, so I placed a ward in a river because our top side guy doesn't have one.
Yep, that's fine. can use your wards as the jungler to cover your lanes wherever you see fit.
So I got the tracker's knife now.
So it shall be.
And now one of the main things you want to look at is where is this Elise, alright? As soon as she pops up, whether it's on a ward, on a lane, you have to instantly go look at her items, how much mana and HP she has, and where she's going to go once she disappears once more. Because then it's going to give you an idea of where she's going, what are her intentions, what side of the map she's on. Then you're going to start to be able to counterplay her. Or you can take the initiative, look for places you want to gank yourself, and try to be as successful as possible. So we can see Diana's very advanced, her mid laner has backed, he will come back soon enough. Using a ward to cover her is not a bad idea. Now that you have the tracker's knife, you have a total of 4 wards that you can place. 3 maximum of course, but you have 4 that you have in reserve.
So I've got one on the bottom of the river. I wonder where else would be good to put a ward at.
Alright, you want to focus your wards primarily in the river on the bot side. So around and close to the Drake. Basically you want to place 2, one beneath the mid lane to cover that, and one above the bot lane to cover them as well. And you'll have full coverage of the river.
Okay, and then I see Fizz coming down here. So I want full coverage of the river. Nice. Spotted Fizz, he's out of lane.
Very good, he's moving to the bot lane, so you can try and counter gank him. Pay attention to how much. Pay attention to your allies' vitals to decide if you're going to be aggressive on this or not, if it's just a covering position.
Nice. Okay, we just killed him. He got trapped between all of us.
I saw Diana coming down and Blitz going up, so I'm guessing that's how you guys did it. Very good. And what did we just use to have success?
A ward.
Exactly.
So now I got 2 jungle camps I could clear. I have 800 gold though, so like now I don't know.
Time to back.
Okay.
In the jungle you have to back slightly more often than if you're a laner, if you're an AD, a mid or a top, because it's going to determine if you can stay up to par in terms of power along the game basically. So backing more often is a good thing. You can also switch your trinket, your yellow trinket, to a red radar, which will now give you the power not only to ward, since you have the hunter's knife, but also to remove vision that the enemies might have in the river. That's going to be useful for when you're going to do objectives like Drake or Nasha. At some point you don't understand something I say, just ask me to repeat and I'll explain it more in depth, okay?
Yes, I appreciate your explanations are very clear and patient. I thought to get you as a coach because you had established working with a lot of others already.
Well, thank you, that's very kind. Alright, so we have your 2 buffs coming back up and you're going to be securing those now. We're also moving to a crucial part in the game. We're going to be transitioning from the early game into the mid game. When does the mid game start? At level 6. Once you have your ultimate and your allies have their ultimate, you guys are going to enter the mid game. What do we do in mid game? Mid game is a lot about skirmishing, so small fights, 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4s, basically anything underneath a big team fight, a 5v5. And the whole point is to kill people so that you can take objectives afterwards. Drake, turrets, Herald, later on Nasha. That's what we want to focus on in the mid game. It's not about the kills, it's about having superior numbers to take objectives, which they are worth more than a kill. We just saw Elise popping up on the top lane. Hope you saw that. That now means that she's in the top side of the map. Now, unfortunately, you didn't move your mouse there to know how much HP she had, or else we could have seen if she was going to continue to stay in the top side, or if she was going to back to the fountain and then move elsewhere, which is what I was talking to you about prediction. This information to predict where she's going to go and then counterplay her.
So I just saw her, she just was in the mid, so I just signaled danger to let everyone know she's in the river.
Yes, indeed.
And now I need a ward there too. There she is.
Not so much, but you're in the right side to counter her, and she seemed like she was moving to do the scuttle crab, which is a little crab that gives vision in the river. She might also try to gank the Diana, which is where you should be moving to cover.
Excellent, that's where I ended up moving to.
Very good, and so did Blitz. He also saw it, so you have good teammates. Be happy, not every game you'll have good teammates, so when you do, cherish them. Don't forget also to honor them at the end. Alright, what can we do now? So you guys just secured a kill. You can obviously take the direct objective, which is the turret, then you can decide on Drake or on Herald. If I were you, I'd go to Herald. So ping the Herald, ask one person to come with you. Why do we want 2 people to do the Herald? Because you do bonus damage if you hit him in the back when his big eye is open. So 2 people helps a great deal to actually do him. Once you have him, you'd rather give the buff that comes from the Herald, which is a pushing buff that increases the power of your creeps. You want to give it to a laner, preferably, and even better, a ranged laner. I saw you guys were moving into the monkey, to the Wukong. Once that's done, go for the Herald. Once Herald is done, you're going to back off, buy items, because you have quite a chunk of money on you at the moment. Remember, that money serves absolutely no purpose unless it's transformed into stats, into items. And then you're going to start to gank the bot side of the map, especially the bot lane. I see Fizz is around. You might want to cancel that Herald, or else you're going to be an easy target.
Enemy double kill. Killing spree.
Right, so I see you ended up dying by the Fizz.
Yes.
Keep in
I
mind...
want Cinderhawk.
Good, you want a Cinderhawk and you want a pair of boots. In this case, you can actually start working towards your Mercuries.
Excellent.
And plans have not changed. You can't take this Herald anymore. But when you actually started to take it, it was risky. Because remember, skirmishes in the mid-game serve what purpose? They serve the purpose of having higher numbers than the enemy. So as soon as that action was finished mid, you guys should have never gone for the monkey top. You should have gone for the Herald. The Herald would be... Yeah, it would have been worth more than the simple kill on the Wukong. Now I see you moving to the top side of the map. Every time you come out of the fountain, you have to think, where am I going to go, top side or bot side, and what route am I going to take? Where is that going to lead me? In this case, remember we're in mid-game, so you want to start doing those ganks on the bot lane.
Okay, so I want ganks on the bot lane when possible, so probably get back down, go back and go back to bot.
For example. So when you're going to go bottom, there's a series of things you're going to do. For starters, you're going to ward, because there's absolutely no vision there, it's predicted. Bronze players don't tend to ward too much, so you're going to have that covered when you're playing the jungle. You're going to ward the river. If you can go get the raptor, the big chickens, and you smite the big one, you'll also have something that will detect wards for you. That way you can remove the enemy vision, which in itself is already going to put a lot of pressure and tell you if you can gank directly or not. Why is this bot lane so important to gank in the mid game? Well, because there are a few levels below you, very squishy, and you can get twice as many kills as going mid or top. So basically everything is doubled up on the bot lane.
So now, like, do I take farm because they went back, or go for dragon? I guess I can get rid of their wards.
Exactly. First things first, establish vision and remove vision. Because they got ganked, why? Because they didn't have any vision, right?
Yeah.
They overpushed, no vision, can't see the threat coming, and they ended up dying.
So take this little jungle creep down here, that'll give us good vision.
For example, and there you go. Right now I see you removing that ward next to the ping. So you're taking the scuttle crab, and you can also ward the little bush inside the river. That's going to cover your mid laner, at least from the bot side.
Okay, so we're all set down bottom with vision. And then now, this is definitely like I kind of aimless now. I guess I should just be clearing jungle camps, getting my buff here as bottom lane gets reset.
Alright, what's coming back up is the red buff. That's what we're going to be taking. Red buff is like an objective. It's a minor objective, but it's an objective nonetheless.
Perfect. So that's a big thing I want to learn is what am I doing right? Because at this point it's hard for me to figure that out. So I had a good instinct to go for the buffs right when they came back up.
An enemy has been
Indeed. And then you're going to go into the tri-bush. Do you know what the tri-bush is? Just above the bot lane.
The one where there's a pink ward down on the right?
Almost. It's the one underneath the Drake. It looks like basically it has 3 prongs, so Tribush. That's why we call it like that.
Oh, so now they want to do the dragon. Oh, I see.
And rightly so. Diana just ganked bot, which means there has been a skirmish that you guys won. You have superior numbers, they can't stop you, so it's time to Drake. I know this might be confusing the first few times because it's a lot of information, but don't worry, it'll sink in.
Well, this is way better than what I've been doing, that's for sure. I have played with friends that are a little better, or a lot better than me, but you know, they're trying to play their own character at the same time, as you said, about playing character. It's hard to help someone while you're playing a character too. So Wukong's coming out down bottom here. I could probably flash and get him.
Yeah, we have a variety of things here that we can do. First things first, is that Wukong you're talking about. So he's isolated.
There we go.
He's decided to go into 1 versus 4. Never do that. You never want to fight in inferior numbers, even if those numbers are small. At 2 versus 3, you're still 1 man down. Once you finish taking that Wukong, you look at the map, you scan it, and you look for what's worth the most and obtainable right now. I see a bunch of things that can be done. I see your blue buff that's back up. I see that you can buy some items and then start rewarding the map. Now the wards are going to change a little bit, Jerry, because the T1 turrets, the very first turrets on each lane, are down. And you guys are obviously going to be advancing towards the second turret, so your wards no longer will be placed on the river, but rather in the enemy jungle, and you're going to start to do something called counter jungling. You're going to go into the enemy jungle and you're going to take what's theirs, basically.
Okay, so I just finished Mercury's Treads and I'm thinking Dead Man's Plate next.
Good choice. That's going to give you another healthy chunk of HP, which works both against the magic and the physical damage, and a little bit of armor so that you can better sustain physical damage, whether that's turrets or other things.
So now I want to get the wards in their jungle side and be trying to clear their wards out too.
Yep. Level 9, don't forget to upgrade that radar, alright? Because that way you'll be able to remove many more wards and find them easier.
Oh, so I have to buy that. It allows me to...
It's for free.
Oh, how do I upgrade it?
You just click the red radar, the one that's, that scans for wards, and you can upgrade it automatically at level 9. And what it's going to do now is, instead of just placing itself at a place of your choosing, you're going to have a huge radar around you, which is going to show you in red transparent where the wards are. So you can just go there, remove them one by one.
Do I have to do that in the store?
Yes, it's in the store. You don't have to go back right now to do it. There are more pressing matters. Now what I see is that Wukong is pushing the top lane and there's a big wave of farm. So that's a free chunk of XP and gold for you to get, and you're also protecting your team's interests because you're not going to lose your turret.
Okay, so I'll go back and grab that farm.
There we go. Once the lane is
up top now.
Alright, try to keep them nice and deep in the jungle.
Alright, so my teammate just came up here, so I guess the right thing is to let him have the farm then?
You share it.
Oh, okay. See, I've been playing with a friend who tells me not to take his farm.
Well, of course.
So I went back and I can upgrade the sweeping lens now. Oh, I see. Well, I've never done that before. Wait, Oracle, is that what it's at? Increase radius? Awesome,
Correct.
I've never done that before.
Do you know how to use this item, what it's for?
And so it scans around you, and see, it puts a little thing on you for 10 seconds, you can scan all around you.
Exactly, and it's going to show you where the wards are.
So now they're fighting in the middle.
Join them, closer. Or if they're kiting back and losing, if they're winning, it won't be a big problem for you. Another thing to verify is you open the scoreboard and you check when the next Drake is going to be up. Because it's been a while, it should be up soon.
Excellent.
So right now I'm guessing you're in the mid lane. Now who are you going to focus? You focus whoever deals the most damage and tanks the least. So Fizz is first, then you're going to be doing Elise, then you're going to be doing Thresh. Ideally, if somebody gets away, obviously you'll just focus the immediate threat. Very good. 2 free kills. When's that Drake coming back up?
A minute on that, and they want to do Baron now.
That's going to be it's going to be risky.
Well, I'll skip that then.
Well, you are the jungler. You do have the smite. If you don't want to do something, you don't have to. You decide.
So I could take their red buff now.
Indeed, and in the process, place some advanced wards, both to protect yourself and to see movements in between lanes. Because people are going to constantly they're going to be moving around in between lanes, either to anti-push or push directly, or whatever. And that's all information that you can use. So as you're doing the red, there's a bush, not above, but let's say behind you. That's a good place to place one. I see Wukong in the meantime came to say hello. So that's fine, you stole something, you're getting away.
I've got a really good set of teammates too. Then I guess I haven't fed the other team, so now I go down and get Fizz, he's all alone by himself. On bottom turret, there's farm down there.
There's a variety of things you can do. Either you can push the top and get a T2 turret there, or you can move to the bot side, place advanced vision in their jungle, steal it, and then move to the Drake, which should be up any moment now. I told it was a minute, so any moment now. Defending bot lane is also something you can do.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
So I disrupted Fizz down here. I placed an advanced ward in the jungle. I've tried to cover his turret down here.
If you really wanted to, you can probably kill them.
There we go. Oh, good call. I got the kill. So now the dragon's up here too, so I guess I need to go back. Or I wonder if
Either
I can
you
do it
can go
first.
back, or you can ask your allies to come back themselves.
They're going for the win already.
An enemy has been slain.
Now, one of the beauties of playing a bruiser, which is what you're playing, basically somebody who buys tanky items but still has a good capacity to deal damage, is that most of the time you're going to be the king of 1v1s. Bruisers are almost unbeatable in a direct 1v1. They won't have the most damage, they won't be as tanky as a full-fledged tank, but in a direct 1v1, basically nobody has the damage to kill them outright, and since you live a long time, your cooldowns come back, so you can reuse spells for damage that way. So, very dangerous, very easy to play, a bruiser, but effective. By the way, I don't shy away from playing easy things. If it gives you the win, that's what matters. This is a competitive game.
So I probably would stick... my friend said too I should probably stick with bruisers.
It's a wise decision.
So now they want to do the dragon. I can go back and help with that, and then I could back. Alright, so I remembered what you said. I smited it to start, so it wouldn't deal me so much damage. And now we'll go back. Oh, you've been incredibly helpful. This definitely
Just one
like
sec.
to do more.
You smited the Drake so it will deal less damage?
Is that... yes.
No.
Or do
Alright,
it to me. Or is
No.
that wrong?
That's not how it works. Basically, what I told you is the first camp you did, the golems. Well, do you know that when you smite different things, they give you different bonuses? Are you aware of this?
No.
Alright, so you know what? That's something we'll talk about right after the game. I'll explain it to you. But with the Drake and the Nasher, you want to look at how much smite damage you deal, and then smite as closely as possible to that number, as long as it's equal or beneath it. Otherwise, people can steal it from you.
So, like with this red buff, I want to hit it right when it just dropped below the damage amount.
Well, right now nobody's here to steal it, so that's fine. And usually what I told you is reserved for the Drake and the Nasher, because they give big bonuses. Now, talking about this red buff, if you smite the red buff, it gives you back HP. If you smite the blue buff, it gives you back mana. If you smite the raptors, the pigeons we were talking about, it's going to give you an aura that lets you know if a ward has spotted you. You can also then find the ward and remove it. Kind of like the radar. That thing I made you upgrade at level 9, that's what it's going to do. The smaller golems, which is the first camp you started at, If you smite the big one, it gives you a stun. Every time you deal your 5th auto attack, you will stun the jungle minions. That's the one I told you to smite straight from the start, at the beginning of the game, because then you're going to lose less HP as you do the jungle. And the final buff, don't worry, I'll repeat this afterwards because it's a lot of information. The final one is the big frog. If you smite that, it gives you a poison aura. Whenever something hits you, they start to die with dot damage.
Well, this game went fantastically well. I got a great team on this too, though. But I guess it's easier to win it with any team if you play well too.
Well, you didn't do too bad yourself. Keep in mind you did 2 counter ganks. Counter ganks are more effective than ganks, and you placed a lot of vision, which enabled that Diana to move around in the map. So you did a good job as well.
So help other people play at their best level too with things like wards and...
Yep, like I said, it's a team game, even if you're going into this solo. You just enter the queue solo, you're going to start and finish a game with other people. So you have to play as best you can with them. Alright, let's see what performance you got. If you go on top of that circle next to the IP.
Got an A-.
A-, very good. That's very good. The absolute best you can get is S, an S rank. It's so good that people will it will show when somebody has an S. A is also an extremely solid performance. B is mediocre, C is obviously underneath, and D is the worst you can do.
Dreadful.
Let's also go into the grid, and let's see how much damage you dealt this game. Don't be disappointed if you're one of the people who dealt the least, because you're a bruiser. Bruisers don't deal much damage.
I'm happy to see I did take a good bit of damage, and I didn't take a lot of deaths on it, though.
Exactly. Those are the 2 stats that interest you. How much damage you deal, how much damage you took for the others. And obviously if you've died 20 times, then it's not as impressive than if you only died once. Alright, let's get back to a few key things that we were talking about. So different camps are going to give you different buffs if you smite them. Let me see if I can find something online so that you can have visual support on that.
Okay, I'm looking on my other, let's see if I can bring something up here.
I got one.
Excellent.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Good. Use this as visual support. Once you have it under your eyes, tell me.
Okay, I got it.
Alright, so you started at the Krugs, right?
Yes.
Okay, we usually just call them the little golems, whatever. People have a bunch of slang for different camps, but alright, let's call them by their name. I guess that's the best. You started at the Krugs. If you smite the big Krug, because there's 2 of them, a small one and a big one, if you smite the big one, instantly, your next auto attack when you're going to hit him is going to stun him. If you've stunned him, obviously he's going to be dealing less damage to you. From that point on, you're going to have a buff on top of you for a certain amount of time, which every time you hit your 5th auto attack, you will be stunning whatever you're hitting in the jungle. So you're going to be stunning the red buff, you're going to be stunning the razor beaks, the wolves, the grump, the blue sentinel, all of them. You'll be stunning them on that 5th attack. That's why it's so interesting to smite that camp when you start there, straight from the start, because then you're going to be stunning and therefore taking less damage in the jungle thereafter. Now, the red brambleback, if you have good memory, what does that do if you smite it?
I believe attack speed?
Nope.
I don't know that.
It's the red buff, right? So
Yes.
what does red symbolize
Health.
in the game? Alright, health. So it's going to give you a big fat chunk of health back. The blue sentinel, the other big buff, is going to give you back what? You reckon?
Mana.
Mana, there we go. Now let's go into some more specific ones. Now the grump, the big frog, if you smite that one, you're basically going to have a poison aura. Whenever anything, including champions, hits you, you're going to be dealing dot damage. They'll be poisoned, they'll take damage over time. So that one's a good one as well, both to start in the jungle or just to accelerate the speed of your jungle. The wolves are a little bit special. If you smite the big wolf, it's going to create a little wisp. I can't call it any other way, like a ghost if you prefer. And he's going to patrol that side of the jungle. If anybody goes in there, that thing is going to go there and basically tell everyone, oh, here he is, we can see him on the map. So it's good for information, for vision. Have we forgot someone? Yes, we have. Razor beaks. Do you remember what the razor beaks do or not?
The raptors, the razor beaks. I do not.
Alright, when you smite those, you get a buff which is very similar to that level 9 upgrade that removes vision. So that's the ideal buff if you want to go gank somewhere. If you smite it and then you decide to go gank mid, and so you're taking that route, so I see your mouse is on it, I think. If you take that route all the way to the mid lane, and if there's a ward anywhere in between, it's going to tell you, and you can then remove it. So you will fail the gank, but you will remove their vision, which will increase the pressure. It will also stop you from going into a gank where the enemy jungle saw you thanks to the ward and counter-ganked you. So that's an excellent one for ganks. So let's recap a little bit. Basically, the Krugs and the Grumps are great for safe jungle and a fast jungle, because one poisons, the other one enables you to smite minions, to stun minions inside the jungle. The wolves are good for some extra vision, the razor beaks are good at removing the vision, blue buff for mana, red buff for health. Is this all sinking in or not?
Yes, the Krugs, when you stun the big one, it stuns, or smite the big one, the 5th auto attack then stuns. It's good for clearing, and then the Gromp has the poison on it, so that's good for
Very good.
clearing also. And the wolves and the razor beaks are both good. The wolves help you out with vision. The wolf patrols and lets you know if someone's there, and then
Exactly.
the razor beaks provides the little, like the tracking or the reveal, so you can see wards that are in the middle.
I think that the detector would be the best word to describe it. Helps you detect those wards, especially if they've seen you. And finally, the blue and the red.
And then the blue is the mana buff. You smite it, you get mana out of it, and the red gives you a health buff. And when you kill it, it gives you attack speed.
Very good. And all this is in addition to the buffs they actually give you, which I think you've noticed you get a buff. The blue sentinel basically gives you a lot of mana regen, and the red gives you a slow and a burn when you hit people. All right, what have we got left? We have the herald, the baron, and the dragon. Now, let's start with the dragon. The dragon, every time you get the dragon, you're going to give a buff to absolutely everybody in your team. That is permanent. The first one is basically damage. The second one's going to help you to push lanes. You know what? Don't worry too much about what they do. What you do have to know is you need those. You absolutely need them. So whenever you get a chance to do the dragon, like I've said, in the mid-game, once you have superior numbers, you cannot be stopped. Like what happened at the Heralds. You tried to do it with the Diana, but Fizz was there. You guys were low HP. You ended up failing. She killed you. That can't happen, all right? We always want to make sure that nobody can come and stop us, or if they do, they die. So this dragon, as soon as you can, you get it. And what did I tell you about smiting it?
So you want to finish it with smite so that no one steals it. So I need to know my smite damage, and as soon as it drops below that, finish it.
All right. Do you know how to see that smite damage?
Yeah, so you look over it and see what true damage it says on it.
Exactly. There's a little icon that actually tells you the damage. It's easy to see. So then all you have to be focused on is when that number is equal or beneath, boom, you smite that thing. Same thing goes for the Herald and the Nasher. Now, the Herald, it's going to give the equivalent to 1 kill divided by your entire team in terms of gold, so it's great for economy. And it's also going to give a little buff that anybody can take, which is going to buff all the minions on the lane, help the person that's on that lane to push faster. Like I've told you, you don't want to take that yourself unless you have to and there's nobody to take it. You want to give it either to a laner, or preferably to a ranged laner. Why a ranged laner? Because he has less chances of dying. So just by standing there and last hitting at a distance, he's going to be pushing the lane faster. The Baron Nashor is like a steroid version of the Herald. It gives that same buff to everyone, plus a few other goodies like some extra AP, and you can TP back to town fast. Any questions about all this?
I'm amazed at how much I've learned. I had no idea all those different things gave different buffs. It's exciting.
Well, I'm happy to see you're enjoying this. Let's move on to those runes and masteries, which I also told you we were going to see after the game. So open up your client, show me what rune page you took and what mastery page you took. Let's start by the runes.
I think this is the one I took because I wanted some rune speed or movement speed. And then I took one based on whatever the recommendation was on the champion. So I looked at the champion, saw what people are using on it recently. So I used it off of here.
1 second, because I have the delay. Okay, I see it now. Mm-hmm. Alright, people do use the movement speed at higher levels. I don't think that's going to be the thing that will benefit you the most at the current level you're playing. So we'll go for something a little bit more solid. Remove those. Open up your quints.
Okay. I've got the quints open. I have ability power, damage, attack speed, lifesteal bonus.
1 second so I can actually see it. Okay, I want you to put attack speed.
Okay, I've got attack speed in there.
That's also going to help you in the jungle. It will make you clear it faster and therefore lose less HP as well. At some point we'll transition to the movement speed, but right now I want you to have something as solid as possible and not use things that will be useless at this elo. Afterwards, one of the reasons you're also taking a lot of damage in the jungle is go for armor in the yellows. Absolutely everything in the jungle deals physical damage, to the exception of the Nasher and the Drake. So a lot of the damage you're taking actually comes from there.
So I want armor then.
Armor in the yellows.
Okay, and I have the greater seal of armor for that. Okay, so I've got all those.
And finally, in the blues, if you have them, go for some flat CDR.
Cooldown. So the glyphs.
Correct?
So flat CDR, so not the cooldown at 18?
No, not the cooldown on 18. We really want it. We want that 5% straight at the start.
Okay, let me see if I have one of those. Or I might have to actually buy those. I don't have any flat cooldown, so glyph of just flat cooldown reduction.
Yep, you can go for it.
Okay, I can buy. I can only buy 6 of those. So I guess 6 is better. And okay, I've got.
It's exactly 6 that you need to make 5%, basically. So it's perfect.
Okay, so I'm back here.
I'm still watching you buy them.
Okay, I got all the cooldown ones in, and then the other 3.
Flat magic resistance.
So plus 1.3 magic resist.
Yep.
Okay. And then attack speed on the marks.
Yep, on all the rest. The rest is all good.
Excellent.
Alright, you're going to see a massive difference in how well you can do the jungle with this page. It's basically a very, very user-friendly page if you want to clear the jungle fast, lose little HP. As soon as you're going to start up a new game, you'll notice that instantly. We'll stick to this for now, so that your jungle is as diminishing to you. Sorry.
So then this is one I could use with Udyr also. What was connection problems? Well, thank you guys for watching on my stream. I'm getting some League of Legends coaching, so I'm figuring that's see if that's an interesting thing to watch or not. So I value your feedback as to whether this is something I should do more of or something, and I appreciate you guys watching today.
Hello?
Hello.
Did I disconnect or did you disconnect?
I'm not sure. We're back now.
Right, well, we're back. That's what matters. So, in your masteries, so I don't have a visual on your stream right now. Let me just reload it.
Okay, I'm back to my masteries.
Okay. Actually, that almost looks perfect. A few differences here we want. Second line of ferocity, I want you to take feast. So we have 3 columns. We're looking at the first one, ferocity. And I want you to go to the second line of ferocity and you put feast.
Okay.
Instead of the double-edged sword that you took. You don't have to backpedal the points. You can just click it directly and switch them. There we go. What else? Rest there is fine. Let's go to resolve now. So the third one, the defensive one you picked. There's only one thing I'd like you to change. It's the absolute last point. Your keystones. Instead of taking the first one, take the second one.
Strength of ages.
Correct.
Oh, and those skills restore 6% of maximum health. That's great. So would these be good to use for jungle also, or for Udyr?
You mean these exact masteries? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can use them. You can use them on Udyr and actually Shyvana if you want. I'd slightly tweak them for them, especially Shyvana. I'd put AD in the marks basically for Shyvana as a difference. She won't benefit from as much attack speed, but Udyr and Volibear are fine, especially if you're playing Udyr with the Phoenix stance. If you're maxing the Phoenix, then the more attack speed you have, as you know, the more you'll hit that 4th attack and shoot the Phoenix out.
So that's the R on Udyr. Okay, so these, what we've set up here should work very well for me on Udyr and Volibear.
Correct. Even the masteries work for Shyvana, by the way. In the runes, you need exactly the same thing, just AD in the marks. So flat AD instead of the attack speed that you have.
For Udyr or for Shyvana?
For Shyvana.
Okay, so I could copy this page pretty much and then
Just
have it
replace.
For Shyvana.
Correct, and just replace the red ones.
Well, that's beautiful. Well,
For
then that
items,
gives me 3 I can play in the jungle then. That should cover about everything.
Yep. For items, you're set. So basically, I want you to take the warding item. Basically because your supports are not going to ward much at this elo, and like I've said, vision, good decisions, it marries itself pretty well. Otherwise, your boots, Mercury, you're going to need them 90% of the time, if not more, because they're not just for the magic resistance, they're also for the anti-CC to stop people from slowing you, stunning you, basically slowing you down. And yeah, then you can go for the Dead Man's Plate, and I'm going to write down 2 more items for you in the Skype chat, which is Spirit Visage and Thorn Mail.
Okay.
Depending on if you're taking physical damage or if you're going to be taking magical damage at that point, whatever you're suffering the most from, you'll take one, but then you can always end up taking the other. Solid build, solid runes, solid masteries. Now you just have to focus on yourself in game. So that's watching out for what you have to, where you have to go. What are the good options? What's worth the most? What's available? Try to look for the jungle as much as possible. If you know where he is, then you'll know his intentions. You can put yourself into a position to counter him. And the rest is just a lot of practice. I do think one to 2 games a day is a little bit on the it's on the short side. Well, if I were you, if you can, obviously I know you probably work or something, so you might not actually have the time. But if you can get in 3 solid games a day, that would be perfect for your improvement.
3 games a day, okay?
Correct.
Sounds doable.
All right.
You know, if I want to push forward at a good pace.
Otherwise, if you cannot and you stick to just 1 or 2 games, then I would tell you to stick to 1 champion at a time. So you take a champion, you play him for a week, and then if you want to change, that's fine. Because if you play 1 different champion every day, then you're never going to actually make your skill level improve. It will give you a lot of knowledge on different champions, but ultimately your individual level won't improve because you're not playing that champion enough to gain a mastery with him, to gain experience with it.
Okay, so you think the Hunter's Potion is a good thing to grab right away in the jungle too?
Maybe not, because now that you have better runes and masteries, I'll let you be the judge of that, alright? If you notice that you're not losing all that much HP, you're not having mana problems, then you might not need it anymore.
Okay. Well, I see the hours up here. It's, yeah, I'd love to do this on a regular basis a couple times a week.